Welcome back to the Advisoryn podcast. Today we are talking about how to grow fintech companies and what's happening in the world of investments. I'm really excited to introduce our guest. It's Patrick. Patrick is an entrepreneur, an investor, and an advisor for companies like Max Ventures, Finley, and Angel Hive. He has a lot of experience helping new businesses grow. Patrick, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. It's you made an introduction. That's true. I'm a serial founder and I'm also an angel investor, and I've got various fintech companies. So it's my pleasure to be on this podcast. Talk to me. What questions do you
Advisory
have?
podcast. Mhm. Okay, so to start from the beginning, Patrick, your story is very interesting. You've lived in many countries, started many businesses, and now you help other companies as an investor and advisor. Can you tell us a bit more about your journey? What was that path like for you?
If you want to start at the beginning, I mean, I left. I'm from the Netherlands originally, and I left the Netherlands when I was 17. I went to the Canary Islands. So you've got to remember this is pre-mobile phone, pre-internet days. So it's a long time ago now. But I basically had enough of the not so nice weather in the Netherlands, where it rains, I don't know, half the year to say the least. And there was a little advert in the newspaper that says, "Come and work in the sun and earn money." That's as simple as it was. I reacted to it, and I left for Gran Canaria. I started working in holiday ownership, so that's basically hotels where they sell weeks of the hotel units. And I did that for 9 years, where I traveled from the Canary Islands to the Greek islands and then to, God, so from the Greek islands, I went to Taipei, Taiwan, then Singapore, Hong Kong, then Bali, Lombok, so Indonesia for a while. Then after Indonesia, I was in Australia for a while in between as well. From Indonesia, went to New Zealand, and from there we went to India. India, it was Nepal, Sri Lanka, and from Sri Lanka, I ended up in the Costa del Sol, where I actually started my first company. So by the age of 28, 28, I started my first company. That was in the Costa del Sol, and it became an internet portal for Spain, Spanish Living, it was. And that turned into a software development company, a white label, sorry, not White House, white label multiple listing system for estate agents. We also had 11 estate agents ourselves covering the entire Spanish coast. So yeah, it's a good time. And then from
Mm,
there, God, from there, we did a first exit. We moved to London, did what did we did? We did a carbon offset project, which unfortunately failed. That was in Costa Rica and in Panama, so I lost quite a lot of money and a lot of years there. And then did a white label cryptocurrency exchange back in 2013. And then in 2015 set up Max Property Group, where we did property funds. We set up a crowdfunding platform, which was regulated, or well, exempt, I should actually say. And then so that was from London, then to Israel, Israel to Panama, Panama to back to Israel, and Israel to Mallorca, where I am now. So now I'm on Mallorca, and I've been here for 10 years now.
So how many countries in total you've lived? It's like
Uh,
15, 20?
yeah, something like 20. I would need to count them exactly, but yeah, most of them, of course. This is not the countries where I travel to. This is the countries where I've lived. Yeah, so yeah, about 20.
Mm. So at least like 6 months, right? On each
Yeah,
of
well,
them.
no, some of them were actually, so Taipei was only 3.5 months, if memory serves me right, because I was working there. But 6 months Bali, 3 months Nepal, no, 2 months Nepal, then 9 months Sri Lanka. So for some reason, I seem to have an affinity with 9 months. 9 months here, 9 months there. It's giving birth to a baby, then move on.
So you've been an entrepreneur for a long time. What lesson did you learn from your own businesses that you now use to advise and invest in new companies through Max Ventures, I believe?
I think the main thing that you need to learn, or the main thing that you need to realize when you set up a company, is that you need to be able to pivot. Yeah, so first of all, is you need to just get shit done, right? You've heard this many times before. It is not about the idea, it's not about the market fit. Everybody's got ideas. Everybody thinks that they've got the new thing that's going to change the world, but it is the amount of effort that you put in. So it's money, time, effort, fall down, get up again. Yeah, you have to do this a
Hmm.
lot when you start a company, but definitely you need to be able to pivot because whenever you see the market change, you need to change with the market and you need to be able to do this.
Mm,
So the advice that I always give to early stage founders is make decisions, no matter what. Doesn't make a difference when the decision is wrong, as long as it's not a catastrophic decision, obviously. But if you make a decision and later on you need to go back on the decision and correct it, doesn't make a difference. You made the decision, which is really important.
mm, mm. And through your experience, you've seen many startups for fintech companies. Those tech companies in finance, especially the one that just got funding, Series A to C. What are biggest problems you see them facing today?
Okay, so I don't really look at Series A startups, right? Because by the time that you're on a Series A, you're not really interesting for me anymore. Because then by the time you're raising Series A or even pre-Series A, you're raising millions, millions and millions because you have to. You've got a working model, you are at growth stage. So I'm much more looking at early stage, pre-seed, friends and family rounds. I like that a lot more. The
Hmm.
risk level is a lot higher, but I can at least give a lot of information still, hopefully a lot of guidance. But what I find more than anything with fintech company is the constant changing environment. So whether you are a pre-seed, whether you are a Series A, it doesn't make a difference. The regulatory changes are fast. When you need to change on a regulatory level, it is extremely time consuming and expensive because you may have to change your entire systems. You may have to all of a sudden apply for licenses. I mean, we lost the company just because we didn't get the license. And
Mm,
it's a lot of money and a lot of time. So we put 5 years into the company and we lost it because we couldn't get the license. So, and we pivoted and we moved to Germany and we're getting the license. But still, the big fintech companies, once you get to Series A and you've really got a solution, so you've got your product, you've got your market fit, you've got your traction, and you're at growth, then make sure that fundamentals is right. And what I mean with the fundamentals is, of course, your administration. So is your company structured right? Do you have all the licenses in place? Have you got the regulatory frameworks? Are you compliant with everything that you need to be compliant with? That's the hardest. That's the
mm,
money.
mm. And we can slightly move to your company called Finley. Can you tell us more about Finley and what it aims to do? How does it help bring together different crowdfunding and investing platforms in Europe, especially from regulatory perspective?
Okay, so Finley was born out of frustration, if you like. We had a company called Max Crowdfund. Max Crowdfund didn't get the license, but the process of not getting the license was one of the reasons that my background is white label software, right? So I
Mm,
wanted to have white label software for crowdfunding and crowd investing platforms. It sounds the same, but it's not. It's two regulatory frameworks. So one works under the European Crowdfunding Service Provider Regulatory Framework, the ECSPR. One of them works under MiFID. Yeah, MiFID 2 is the market for instruments of financial initiatives and derivatives. Anyway, um, the regulator said to us, you cannot have a white label software company when you also run a crowdfunding platform because that means you can see in the kitchen, so to speak, and it's a conflict of interest.
mm,
So we had to spin off
mhm,
the company, and that's Finley. We built it from scratch. We had to do the whole code from scratch again. But the goal of Finley is that we are a fully compliant white label solution for crowdfunding and crowd investing platforms and funds. So both ECSPR and MiFID II regulated companies, but also under MiCA and DORA, so that you can also tokenize real world assets. And the
mm,
idea is that if you want to start a platform, all you have to do is get the license in your country and get Finley as your software platform, and then you're live. Simple as it is. But the ultimate aim of Finley is to combine the people. So once we have, let's say, 100 platforms running on the same software, you can then build a marketplace above it. Because then one of the
mm,
platforms that has, for example, a project but can't fund it because they don't have enough investors, they can say, That project I would like to put in the marketplace. And then all the other platforms can say, hey, I like that project. I will present it to my investors as well. And the platforms share the commission. Now, if we can get that done, then we're talking about a proper European, um, it doesn't just have to be Europe, by the way, but obviously European is where we are, but it would be a European crowd investing marketplace. And that does not exist. There are many crowdfunding
Mm.
platforms and there are many crowd investing platforms, let's say about 800 throughout Europe. None of them work together. So,
So
and
it's
I,
like a Kickstarter for um,
no. It's not. It's a SaaS, so it is a proper software as a service. You can call it almost a banking as a service, so a
mhm.
BaaS, but it's not. It is a fully automated, fully regulated platform without the license. You need to get your own license. Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
eventually we would like to be a payment service provider. Eventually we would like to have our licenses as well, but that takes a lot of time to do that, and it's a lot more work. So we will see how that
Yeah.
goes.
Okay. Cool. About Angel Hive, when you are choosing new companies to invest in, what are the most important things to you look for, and how does AI help find these important things quickly? This due diligence.
Okay, I think you're combining two particular platforms here, but Angel Hive is also my platform. That's correct. Or when I say my, I'm the majority shareholder, but and I'm the founder. The same with PIN. So first of all, PIN is the white label SaaS platform again for VCs, family offices, business angel networks, etc. Because one of the things as business angels that we have is that when you have deal flow, a lot of the deal flow that you get is not for you. It doesn't fit your thesis. Either the geolocation is wrong, the stage is wrong, the vertical is wrong, the ticket size is wrong. Could be anything, right? But a lot of it is just not for you, and that I find is so inefficient again. So Finley is trying to get the inefficiency out of the financial markets, and PIN and Angel Life are trying to get the inefficiency out of the angel networking stage. So it's the early stage investing. So on Angel Hive is essentially just a tenant, so a user of PIN, and all the people that use PIN can promote, if you like, or can publish their deal flow on Angel Hive. And the idea is that we, as investors, go to Angel Hive and find the startups that we want to invest in, instead of the startups
Hmm.
reaching out to investors. Because that way,
So it's like a
it's an
so it's like a
aggregator.
marketplace.
Yeah, it's a market of
Mm.
100%. It's a marketplace, and it's an aggregator. It's a filter system. Um, So what we look for early stage, what I particularly look for is there needs to be a company, there needs to be a team, there needs to be a product, there needs to be traction. So I want to see a dedicated team. I want to see stable traction, and that's where we are.
Mm. Okay. And how does AI help you pick the best ones, especially for fintech companies? What kind of information does AI find most useful?
The AI use. Okay, so I think what we use AI for. It took us 3 years, by the way, to build this AI analysis tool. And why did it take 3 years? Because as an angel investor. Okay, let's start somewhere else. There are quite a few platforms like this out there for Series A plus investments. Why? Because
Hmm.
Series A, B, C, D, all listed companies, there's a lot of information available. Yeah, there is a lot of traction already. You can look at the annual accounts. You know that the team is solid. Usually they are internationally established already, etc. There's a lot of information, a lot of data to go through to see what the valuation of the company is. You don't have this at the early stage. There's no information at all. So a lot of it is based on the idea, the background of the people that have come up with the idea, the dedication of the team. How many hours are they dedicated to it? How much money have they raised? How much money have they put in themselves? Have they
Hmm.
done product market fit? Have they looked at the competitors? So competitor analysis. Is there actually a hole in the? So there's a lot of much more refined details that you need to go through. So we had to train the AI, or we had to look at the prompts and refine and refine and refine the prompts until we finally had a report which we thought was good enough to do the initial filtering, because that's all it does. It does the initial filtering. So when on Angel Hive a startup is identified as a 4.1 or a 4.2, which is quite a high score, then, and it is in Spain, and it is, for example, a fintech, I should be looking at it. Yeah, if they're
Mm,
raising up to €1 million, and if it is a pre-seed, seed stage, etc., etc. Now, there's quite a few things that I still look at, but all those filters you can actually place in Angel Hive. So as an investor, you can create an account, you can put in your thesis, and you only get the startups that fit your thesis. And that is what I mean with removing inefficiency.
mm. And how, in your personal opinion, how do you think this AI is accurate when it's doing a report? If you take 10 reports and you actually start looking at them, like maybe 80% or 70% is like accurate, or
No, not really.
what
It
do you
is
think?
it's much better than that. So the hallucination in the beginning, we had a lot of hallucination, obviously, but that is also, we know this,
Hmm.
right? AI was only, look, machine learning and AI has been around for many, many years already, but it's
Hmm.
become big the last couple of years. So in the beginning, it was very hard to get an accurate report, which is why it took so long. Now we get quite an accurate report. We're happy with the findings, but again, I have to reiterate, it is a initial filtering stage, nothing else.
Hmm.
It is basically telling you I should look at this company or not, rather than getting 100 pitch decks a month and having to go through 100 pitch decks to find out which one is good for you. That's what it does. That's what Angel Hive does. And then PIN is adding a lot of functionalities such as data room management, portfolio management, the voting systems, event organizing. There's a lot of extra stuff that is in PIN, but these are all additional features. But eventually,
Mm.
what I want is one platform where it does everything.
It's very, very inspiring. And for founders who are preparing their pitches, what key informations or numbers should they focus on when they are preparing the pitches?
Okay, so that is not something that they need to look at. As a founder, what you want, you can create a profile. Even if you have an idea, you can create a profile now, right? So we don't charge. So Angel Hive doesn't charge, and Pin does charge, of course, because it's a white label platform. But Angel Hive only charges for the full report. So when as a founder, as a startup, you create a pitch or you create a profile, you don't have to pay anything. You get a one pager for free. If you want the full report, then you have to pay €29. Why? Because we're sending a lot of prompts to AI, and we have to pay for this. And I'm not stupid.
Mm.
I don't want to lose money just to make the world a better place, right? I mean, we
Yeah,
still
yeah,
want to
for
make a
sure.
little bit of money, but it's only €29. So what I think what a founder should focus on more than anything else is believe in him or herself. Do you really want to start a company? Because it's bloody hard work, right? Do you really want to be an entrepreneur? And I mean, since this is fintech oriented, if you really want to go into fintech, make sure you've got people that are experienced and can really help you, because it is a hard road with a lot of pitfalls and a lot of questions and a lot of complications. But if you want to start a company, I always think just go for it. Like I said before, just make a decision and go.
Mm. And what are common mistakes you see founders do when they are being checked by investors, and how can they do better?
Okay, to start, I think a lot of the mistakes founders make, um, which are the same mistakes I made, by the way, is believe in the product too much. So a lot of founders are so focused on the product and not focused on the client. You should always listen to the client. You're building a product for a client. You're not building the product for yourself. And so one of the sayings that I use a lot, and my personnel will definitely recognize, don't build a Ferrari, build a Mini. First build a Mini,
Mm.
make sure that the Mini is working, make sure you can put petrol in it, i.e. get some clients that will pay you some money, and let the Mini drive. Once it drives, turn it into a BMW. Once it's a BMW, turn it into a Mercedes, for all I care. And once it is a
Mm.
Mercedes, turn it into a Ferrari. But never start with oh, it is not perfect enough. I can't go to market. Bullshit. Go to market. So that's one
Mm.
mistake they make a lot. They are basically over developing and underselling. I've
Mm,
already spoken about the pivot. And then with the investors, it depends on what kind of investor you've got in front of you. But be yourself, be enthusiastic, and don't, for me at least, don't make statements, I'm going to take over the world, or I'm going to change the world. I mean, come on, right? We've all heard it before. Find a niche market or find a big market. I don't really care, but go for what you believe in and at least have some experience in what you're building. So, me
mm,
personally, I like founders the most that are coming from an industry where they've identified a problem, they've fixed the problem, and they've got five clients, five beachhead clients, if you like, that will tell them and give them feedback on how to progress the product into the next one.
mm. And how many founders from your experience are software engineers and how many are marketing guys? Because I think the problems that you are describing is mostly apply for software engineers because they aim to be perfect and they focus too much on the tech, not on the product itself.
No, I've seen everything. So I couldn't give you the percentages, but you've got a lot of founders that have got great ideas but don't know how to code. Luckily, this is now becoming easier and easier with all the vibe coding tools, but still,
Yes.
vibe coding tools don't give you a finalized, polished product. It gives you a really random, rough product for sure, but it doesn't get you scalable software. It's no way near there. But who knows? Very soon we should be able to talk to AI and say, listen, build me this, and they will build it in a scalable fashion. So we will see. Um, but I don't know about percentages. You're absolutely right. Software engineers always want everything to be perfect. Salespeople always want to sell everything. Lawyers always want to think about stuff and talk about stuff, as do accountants, by the way.
Mhm.
They want the
Yeah.
same. So
Uh-huh.
But in the best case scenario, you've got one person that is extremely driven. You have somebody with legal experience. You've got somebody with accounting experience. You've got somebody with development experience. Then you've got the four. Then you've got
Mm,
the perfect set. If you are talking about fintech, because fintech is all
mm.
about regulation, accounting, drive, and software.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like AI is a powerful tool for smart investing, especially for Angel Hive. Now, let's talk about something many founders find hard. It's like getting money for their business. You've seen many founders try to get money for their companies. Why do you think it's difficult for them, and what are the most common mistakes they make in when they are trying to raise like their first money?
So I'm moving a lot, by the way, because I've had a motorbike accident in early December, so my leg is complaining a bit. Um,
Okay.
Without question, the biggest mistake that founders make is try to raise money when they're not funding ready. So
Mm,
there's a big difference between being ready from a friends and family, or the three Fs, right? Friends and family and fools. So the FFF round is when you have an idea. 10, 15 years ago, you could actually go to the market and get money with an idea. Those days are gone, certainly in Europe. In Europe, you need to have the product ready and you need to have traction before you start going to VCs. And VCs is actually already the next step. So first, you usually get the three Fs, friends and family, right? Then you get angels, and then you get VCs. If you want, I mean, not everybody needs VCs, not everybody needs angels. I
mm,
mean, you never know, right? But I think always, always, always come up with an idea, validate the idea. So do some research in your market and talk to potential clients. Say, listen, this is what I want to build. Would you be interested? If you can build a product for a client, it is always better. As long as you don't forget that you're building it as a SaaS. If you're building a SaaS, right? No, don't ever build
mhm,
software for one particular client, because once you build software for one client, you can't really turn it into software for somebody else. So you have to
mhm,
always build SaaS. Um, but yeah, make sure you're funding ready. That's the answer to your question.
mm. And before that, we've talked about founders just sending their plans and ideas and pitch decks to all the VCs they found. Why is not why this approach why this like shotgun approach is not a good idea, and what's better way of them to find the right investors?
Okay, so spray and pray. Or shotgun
Yeah.
approach. I like that. I think we're going to change approved. Shotgun approach from now on. Um,
Yeah.
no, the spray and pray is for me not the way to go because first of all, I don't even look at pitch decks anymore. Yeah, and I know that a lot of people I know don't look at pitch decks anymore. You need to first have the idea, develop the product, then have clients, and then go to all the events. So start doing the rounds, go and sign up for pitch competitions, try to win some pitch competitions, look for money as well from the government. There's a lot of government money available nowadays. Yeah, like a lot,
Hmm.
even in Europe. But if you're doing deep tech, there is a deep tech fund. If you're doing an EU project specifically for the EU, there's EU funds. If you're doing SaaS, and then there's localized funds. So there's all kinds of grants and loans that you can ask for as well. But all of those, if you come to me and you say, listen, I've already applied for a loan and a grant and I've gotten both, then I know that you've been checked. I know your company
Hmm.
exists. I know that you are being employed by your company. I know that your business plan has been checked. I know that the government has done a lot of checks on you. So to me, that is definitely a green flag, not a red flag. Yeah. So if you have a loan, a lot of people may say, yeah, but then I have a debt. Yeah, okay, but it's a government debt. That to me is not a red flag, but a green flag. So my advice would definitely be do your research on your idea, talk to potential clients and get feedback, develop an MVP, get some traction on your MVP, and do the rounds. And then
Hmm.
once you get known, people hear about you, fundraising becomes easier as well. Because then you can say, I've won this competition, I've won that competition, I've got this client, I've got this traction, etc. It becomes much easier.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that's great advice. And from different angle, for example, if some person reach out to you with an idea and it was like super early stage and you say no to him, and then after like 6 or 7 months he came up to you again, um, would you consider to review his idea again, or you will say like just no
On the contrary, I like it.
because
That's good. But this is exactly why we've built the platform. So
mm,
when you, my advice to everyone is create a platform, create a profile. Because first of all, it doesn't cost you anything. Second of all, you can update your profile all the time. Now, if I see you, because you can also send me your profile, right? If you send me your profile and I can go in and I see that you've been updating your profile for 9 months and I can see all the previous iterations, what have you updated? That to me, that's a green flag. You're dedicated, you're
mm,
committed, you're willing to share updates. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. So a lot of people try to raise funds when it's far too early. So I expect you to come back later. And what people look, founders, you're not going to get money on your first pitch. It's highly unlikely. All right. So learn how to pitch, really important, and make sure that you're ready for it. And if you're not ready, if somebody says no, try to find out why they say no and work on it so that next time that obstacle is no longer there.
mm. And besides the money side, what kind of qualities or skills in founder make you really want to invest in them? So you're emotionally into it.
Emotionally into it. I try to keep emotions out of it, but no. If you've fallen down, that's a good thing. So if you've fallen down and you got back up again, that's a hard thing to do, right? So a failed founder is, to me, better than a once successful founder. So if you started a company and you were successful and you didn't really see any negative sides yet, so you didn't have to get back up, then to me, you don't show me the grit that I potentially would be looking for. So
Mm,
I like it more when you failed than when you haven't failed. So that is, I think, my son
yeah.
behind me. Maxi, ik zit in een... Zou je uit het beeld gaan, alsjeblieft?
Mm.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great criteria, because if someone gets something really easily, then it means he's not ready for hardships.
Well, he's not learned. He, she, by the way, because obviously we want
Yeah.
all kinds of founders, right? But yeah, no, absolutely true. I would prefer to have somebody that has learned to fight and has shown the grit and is willing to do it again, than somebody that says, "No, I've got daddy's money" or whatever. You know, like I want fighters. So
Mhm. Yeah, that's very helpful advice for any founder. Absolutely. Let's now look at the bigger picture in Europe and some of the challenges there. You've mentioned that getting alternative financing in Europe can be like a bottleneck. What does that mean, and how do rules in different systems in each country cause this problem for fintech?
we could dedicate an entire episode to this, right? So try to keep this relatively short. Europe has got 27 countries. Europe is ruled by Brussels, if you want to call it that. Um, when Brussels come up with a new regulatory framework, they always allow each state country to make up their own rules for a certain percentage. Let's say 80% of the rules are set by Brussels and 20% can be set by Germany, France, whichever country it may be, right? That means there is not one proper framework that you can actually cross-border invest. Now, one really good example is if you are from Germany or if you're from anywhere in Europe, but not from Spain, and you want to invest in Spain, you have to have an identification number, a tax identification number. That takes 6 weeks to get. If you're investing through a company, the company needs a tax identification number, but the founders as well, the ultimate beneficial owners. So that's just one example of how Europe is just simply not working yet. Um,
Mm,
you can't really cross-border invest. The rules differentiate, and they are working on it, right? Europe knows this. Europe is working on it. They're working on an EU investor number. They're also working on what they call the 28th region, which is basically a company that can be set up in the 28th region that doesn't exist, but is a European company. And then anybody from anywhere in Europe can invest in that company. But it's not done yet. They're working on the electronic identification, EID. The EID would eventually replace all the other ID systems. So you would basically have a wallet on your smartphone, which you could prove that you are who you are. And that would be fantastic for the fintech world, that's for sure, because KYC AML is an absolute nightmare and it's getting harder and harder. Rightfully so, by the way. I mean, I'm complaining about it, but I'm also appreciative of it. Because of
mhm,
course we don't want to have any terrorist financing, and you name it, like all the naughty people of the world. Um, but yeah, Europe has got a long way, but so they have got the EU Listing Act already. That's good. They've got MiFID 2, which soon becomes MiFID 3. They've got DORA and MiCA, which are both European regulatory frameworks. They've got the ECSPR, that's a regulatory framework. So slowly but surely, EU does become one. But you still have 27 countries and you still have many languages. So it is not as easy as in the
mm,
US, where essentially you've got American and Spanish nowadays, of course.
mm. And with Finley, you are working to fix this, as I understand. How exactly Finley platform help overcome these problems with rules and different systems across Europe? You said you need to have only license, and after that you take care about everything. What is everything about exactly?
Yeah, so the AML KYC is fully automated. It is fully
Mm,
internationalized, so it's multilingual. You can add any language in a couple of days. So the language barrier is gone. The license barrier is gone. The compliance barrier is gone. The currency barrier can be gone, depending on whether you've got a good payment service provider license, or a association with. So yeah, that is all about having everything automated. But Revolut is a great example. You know Revolut, right? The bank.
yes, yes, yes.
I mean, they're a great example. They started off as a small bank, had great plans, and look at them now. They are very, very large indeed. One of the success stories, of course, in Europe. And they have got one platform where anybody in Europe pretty much can open up a bank account. You can change your currencies. You can start investing nowadays. So they've done a nice job, but it's for them. So they haven't got a white label SaaS. So basically, what Revolut has done, we're doing with Finley, but we're just building the software for others to operate on.
And how do you solve AML and KYC issue? Because I think each country on Europe has its own regulation framework, right?
No, they do not. It is actually an international standard, but yes, each country can have its own additional rules, such as in Europe, in Germany, you need to do video identification, a real live video
Hmm.
identification, where in other countries that's not necessary. But they are testing the electronic identification, like I said, the EID, and Germany is one of the countries that they are testing it with. But Europe being Europe, this is something that takes years before they got it through properly. But yeah,
Mm,
once you are AML KYC'd under the European regulatory framework, you are approved.
mm. And you mentioned Revolut. I recently watched interview of CEO of Revolut, Nicholas Stavansky, and he mentioned how he fixed the AML and KYC issue. He mentioned that he actually have like large data science department for that, and through each transaction they run uh, machine learning model which can prove to regulators and say that and give a like full report on each of their decision. They like fully automated regulation framework. How is that on Finley? Can you tell us
I'm
more
sure.
about how it's done?
Okay, you're comparing an apple with a pear tree. Now, Revolut is a huge company with huge, deep pockets, right? So, yes, they have got departments now where they are building full automation. Finley's not there yet. Yeah, that's not true. I have got an account in Revolut. Look, I'm not a big advocate for Revolut, but I think they're doing a lot of things right. So with when you log in, you need to often scan your face again. They don't really do multiple accounts very well. When I switch from one account to the other, I need to add in a code, even though I've got my fingerprint. So there's look, they've got glitches, just like every other company's got glitches. But no, Finley does not have a fully automated AI transactional KYC structure yet. Yeah, it can be done, but that's not relevant. You basically AML KYC somebody at the beginning. Yeah, so when somebody creates an account on a platform, that's when you do the KYC, right? Know your client, know your business, KYC, KYB. Then when they start doing transactions, you need to do continuous anti-money laundering checks, so AML checks.
Hmm.
Only when somebody starts moving large amounts of money, then you need to start asking questions. Source of funds, where's it from? So those things are all automated as well. Those are all infinitely they're there. But at the moment, we don't have a fully automated system as to where the money came from, where does it go, etc.
Okay, great. And I think the last question, what can you say to young founders who just had an idea, just created an MVP and validated their idea? Just piece of advice and last words for them.
If it is my advice, first of all, create an account on Angel Hive, upload your
Mhm.
report, takes you 5 minutes, and it will give you an insight on your strengths and your weaknesses. That's the first thing. Then it also gives you a report that you can send to potential investors if you have a high score card. Then the next piece of advice is once you've got that and you know that you're strong, go and join the circuit. So go to events and start joining pitch competitions. You may bump into me because I'm also a pitch competition judge and I speak regularly at these events. So if you bump into me, come and say hi. Yeah, don't be afraid to approach people. Do approach people, and I wish them a lot of luck because if you're an early stage founder, it's a long, hard road ahead. But if you
Mhm.
make it
And
successful, good luck to you.
okay, Patrick, thank you again for your time and for sharing your amazing journey and knowledge. It's been like real pleasure. Thank you.
My pleasure as well. Have a great day.
Thank you. Okay, I stopped the recording.